Hello friends, and welcome back to another virtual story time with Miss Liz. You may have seen that the library had a big leak over the weekend, and that has taken up a lot of my time, and I haven't been able to read as many books with you all, but I found some time today to read a very special story. It's called Milo Imagines the World. If you like to make art about what you see in the world around you or what you imagine, I think you'll especially like this book. It's by Matt De La Peña and illustrated by Christian Robinson. Here we go. Milo Imagines the World. Here we see Milo and his sister in their real life. And over here, we see something from Milo's imagination. And we're going to see more of both of these things in the story. All right, it really begins on the next page. What begins as a slow, distant glow grows and grows into a tired train that clatters down the tracks. A cool rush of wind quiets into a screech of steel. And when the doors slide open, Milo slips aboard. Milo and his sister are underground in the subway station. And here's the subway train come to pick them up. Some of you might have ridden a subway train too. The train bucks back into motion as he and his sister squeeze onto bench seats. The whiskered man beside Milo has a face of concentration. A businessman has a blank, lonely face. The wedding-dressed woman near the far door has a face made out of light, while the dog peeking out of her handbag has no face at all, just a long, lolling tongue. Look at all of the different people on the subway. Looks like Milo's sister is taking selfies. These monthly Sunday subway rides are never ending. And as usual, Milo is a shook up soda. Excitement stacked on top of worry, on top of confusion, on top of love. Like I said, you'll see why later in the book. To keep himself from bursting, he studies the faces around him and makes pictures of their lives in his sketchbook. At a downtown local stop, the whiskered man folds up his crossword and hurries off the train. Milo imagines him trudging through brown mounds of slush. It's a 5-flight climb to his cluttered apartment where he's greeted by mewing cats and burrowing rats. Parakeets tweet songs of longing as the man sips tepid soup hunched over a game of solitaire. Late that night, the door to the parakeet cage mysteriously falls open and the cats gather on the cold sill to watch the birds fly free above the city. This is what Milo is imagining about the man's life. Milo tugs his sister's sleeve and holds up his picture. But even when she turns to look, he can tell she doesn't see. She is a shook up soda too. A boy in a suit boards the train with his dad. His hair is a perfect part and there's not a single scuff on his bright white Nikes. Milo imagines the clop, 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 clop of the horse-drawn carriage that will carry the boy to his castle. Imagines the clink, clink, clink of the guards slowly lowering the drawbridge. Across the human-made moat, the boy is met by a butler, 2 maids, and a gourmet chef offering crust-free sandwich squares. To Milo, the boy seems like someone who must live in a fancy castle, and so that's what he draws. Milo flips to a fresh page at a bustling midtown stop. When the wedding-dressed woman strides off the train, a band of street performers launches into "Here Comes the Bride," and everyone on the platform stops and cheers. Doesn't she look lovely? Milo imagines the grand cathedral ceremony where the couple will be pronounced husband and wife. He imagines the groom whisking his new bride to an awaiting hot air balloon where the pilot loads them in with blankets and blasts the heat. And up they go, hand in hand, beyond the concrete walls of the city into the infinite blue. Milo holds up this picture too, but his sister shoos him away. "Can't you see I'm playing my game?" He watches her thumbs bang around her smudged screen, then turns back to the boy in the suit. They lock eyes for a few seconds, and suddenly it feels like the walls are closing in around Milo. The spell is broken when a crew of breakers, that's break dancers, bounds onto the train announcing, "You all ready for a show?" Several curious faces look up as the beat drops. And now the girls are walking up walls. They're whirling around poles. They're backflipping over shopping bags. And when the train pulls into the next stop, they collect a few dollars and scramble for another car. See them dancing? Milo imagines them going from train to train, doing their act as everyone watches. But even after the performances are over, faces still follow their every move when they walk down the electronics aisle at the department store, and when they cross into the fancy neighborhood. Milo doesn't really like this picture, so he puts away his pad and turns to his reflection in the window. Do you see how the story is unfolding for these girls in Milo's imagination? He sees them dancing freely on the train with people watching them, but as they move through the rest of their day, other people are watching them with an unkind gaze because of the way that they look. Milo imagines that people don't trust the girls not to steal. Milo imagines that people don't trust the girls in their nice neighborhood because they might not look like someone who belongs there. And that thought makes Milo upset. So that's why he puts his drawing pad away. He thinks, what do people imagine about his face? Can they see him reciting his volcano poem to the class? Can they hear his mom's soothing voice reading him a bedtime book over the phone? Can they smell the Chile Colorado bubbling in a pot in his auntie's apartment near the cemetery? Butterflies flood Milo's stomach when it's finally their stop. He follows his sister onto the cold station platform and up the stairs. Above ground, he's surprised to see the boy in the suit a few paces ahead. I think he's wondering why it is that they're going to the same place when the boy in the suit looks so different, like he belongs in another place. Milo's even more surprised when the boy joins the long line to pass through the metal detector. Milo's sister suddenly bends to give him a hug. "I didn't mean to snap at you," she says. She takes his hand, adding, "You have your picture ready?" And Milo nods, feeling the warmth of her fingers. As they slowly shuffle forward, Milo studies the boy in the suit, his dad rubbing his thin shoulders, and a thought occurs to him. Maybe you can't really know anyone just by looking at their face. I think that that is true. Milo tries to reimagine all the pictures he made on the train. Maybe he could have done it like this instead. Maybe the man with the whiskers wasn't going home to cats and rats, but to a family that he loves and that loves him. Or this. Maybe the bride wasn't going to meet a groom and get carried off in a hot air balloon. Maybe there was another bride and they were just as happy. Or this. Maybe the 3 breakdancing girls go to a fancy neighborhood and the doorman says, "Welcome home." I think Milo is right that you can't really know anybody just by looking at their face. And in fact, if we judge people just on how they look, we can miss out on a lot, and we can be wrong about them a lot of the time. It's really getting to know someone that makes the difference, not assuming based on how they look. Milo's chest fills with excitement when he spots his mom through the crowd. His sister rushes to give her a hug before pulling Milo in too. And it's in this tight tangle of familiar arms that he feels most alive. Do you all see where Milo has been going? Do you all see where the boy in the suit has also been going? It's maybe not a place that many people think is happy, but in this room with families reuniting, the prison is a happy place right now because Milo's family and the boy in the suit's family and other families are getting to be together, even if it's just for a short time. You might notice that people in this room are wearing orange jumpsuits. That is sometimes how people dress when they are incarcerated in prison. When they separate from their hug, Milo flips through his pad until he finds the right picture. "I made this for you," he says to his mom, holding it up. And he watches for the smile he hopes will spread across his mom's face. And here's the picture he drew. It's a picture of them, Milo and his sister and his mother sitting on the porch eating ice cream. They are all together and they are a family. I want to point out that even though Milo's mom might be in prison and is not living with them, they are still a family. They are still a loving family. Where they are and whether or not they can be together every day does not make a difference. It doesn't change the love that they have for each other. And one day I'd like to believe that the story will end with them being together, just like in Milo's picture. And that, my friends, is the end. I hope you enjoyed this story. I hope it challenged you to think about the ways that we sometimes judge others before really knowing them. And I hope it affirms for you that love comes in many forms, and families can look many different ways. But at the end of the day, they can still be filled with love. Thank you all for reading with me again today, and I will see you soon for more great books. Thanks for watching.